Hey there, and welcome to the Bringing Business to Retail podcast. If you're looking to get more sales, more customers, master your marketing, and ultimately take control of your retail or e-commerce business, then you're in the right place. I'm Selena Knight, a retail growth strategist and multi-award-winning store owner whose superpower is uncovering exactly what your business requires to move to the next level. I'll provide you with the strategies, the tools, and the insight you need to scale your store. All you need to do is take action. Ready to get started? Hey there, and welcome to today's episode of the Bringing Business to Retail podcast. Last night, I was lucky enough to go to CEO Club. If you've been listening for a while, you know that I joined a club where I affectionately call it CEO Club, but essentially it's a whole bunch of seven-figure business owners and above who get together and hang out because they like talking about business. Now, part of this club is that for 3 months at a time, 3 times a year, you join what is called a core group. And in this group, you help each other out, you find out about each other's businesses, you refer people. Well, I say refer people, this is nothing like BNI. You refer people as in someone might come to you and say, oh, I need help with such and such. And it has been an absolute game changer for me as a human, for me as a business owner, and for me as part of a community. Like I have to say, it's one of those things where business is my hobby as much as it is work, and I am in a happy place if I am sitting down on a Thursday night, surrounded by like-minded people, having a glass of wine, talking about business. And in my current group, this is the thing, the groups are made up of all different types of people. So in my current group, I have a finance guy, I have a lawyer, I've got this amazing lady who I'm going to have to get her on the podcast. She has developed a sustainable coat hanger. Freaking brilliant is all I'll say, and it could not come soon enough. We have some agency people. We have a branding agency. We have a marketing agency. We've got an amazing guy who does Web3, which I'll be honest, I'm still not 100% sure what that stuff is. But I do know that he does the whole token thing when it comes to crowd fundraising. So I'm super excited to hear more about that stuff. We've got an IT guy. Like, honestly, it is everybody from all these different types of industries. And on some of the sessions, every session comes with an agenda. And on some of the sessions, you'll have like just a Q&A about your business and what are the obstacles that you're encountering and how can people help you. But this time around, we talked a lot about branding and messaging and how you get your value across to your customers. Now, as you can imagine, that was a very interesting conversation. And in fact, I put my hand up and said, I need a little bit of help with this project that I'm working on. And it was so great to hear people who actually weren't affiliated with you, to hear their opinions. And so the best part about all of that was being able to hear how other people work with their customers. And what I found really amazing was there were quite a few people who actually said they didn't really have to convey their value to their customers because their value was simply answering a phone call or replying to an email. And this was not one, not two, not even 3 people in the group, but 4 people in the group out of 10 or 11 actually said they were winning contracts because they were the only person who turned up, or they were the only person who tendered, or they were the only person who replied to an email or a message. I mean, what does this world come to when you're getting a job? Not to say that these people aren't amazing, but you're getting a job simply because you did the most basic things, right? You actually turned up, you talked to your customers, and you pitched them something to sell, which is what we do all day, every day. Now, I know when I had my stores, I used to sit behind the counter. I can't even remember how many times I would have said this. It was probably like a background chatter that ran in my head all the time. If I could just get more customers, I'd have more sales and everything would be awesome. I could just get more customers. If we just got more customers, everything would be okay. I felt like if we just had more customers, the world would change. Now, I know that you guys know that that's not true, but I spent a lot of years standing behind the counter, complaining to anyone who would listen about the fact that I just needed more customers. And maybe in the current economy, you might be thinking that too, because the economy is rocky, or so the media is telling us, and no one is buying. So honestly, you'd be forgiven for thinking that you have no control over whether somebody becomes a customer or not. Now, even worse than this is maybe you're in some of the same Facebook groups, some of the business Facebook groups that I'm in, or let's be honest, it's happening in all the Facebook groups where maybe you've posted about how your sales are down and a bunch of people have jumped in to tell you just how crappy business is at the moment. Well, if that's you, please go and listen to my podcast that I did just a couple of weeks ago about how to tell what people are buying. Alrighty. So if you've been in those Facebook groups and you're feeling a bit justified that your sales are down because, heck, so is everybody else, right? I'm going to call BS on that. I'm going to say, hello, let me change that script. Because every day as a retail strategist, I help retail and e-commerce store owners all around the world to get more sales, more growth, and more customers. And I have worked with retailers from couture bridal designers to recycled floor mats and everything in between. So I'm not bragging, but I feel pretty confident about what I'm going to say next, which is if you truly believe that you need more customers to grow your business, then how much time have you actually spent creating and marketing and building advertising campaigns that actually focus on driving more traffic to your store or website? Let me say that again. If you think that you need more customers, how much time have you actively spent getting more customers to your business? That's what I thought. So over the years, I've consistently seen 3 things that crush otherwise strong businesses. And they are lack of knowledge, lack of focus, and lack of support. Now, you probably thought I was going to say they ran out of money, they ran out of time, or they didn't have enough customers, yeah? Well, you are right. Quite often it is those 3 things: not enough customers, not enough money, and not enough time. But here's the thing. They are just the symptoms. They are not the cause. So let me just give you an example. Let's take running out of money as our example here. 80% of businesses that go out of business do because they simply run out of cash. So you would be forgiven for thinking that that's the reason they ran out of business. They ran out of cash, right? They closed down their business because they ran out of cash. That was not the problem. You have to ask yourself, why did they run out of cash? Well, generally it's because they don't understand pricing for profit, or they didn't manage their inventory, or they just didn't understand how money flows into, around, and out of their business, the money pillar stuff, i.e., they had a lack of knowledge. Now, they might also have run out of cash because they're running around fighting fires, doing all of the things, telling themselves that they are too busy to stop and spend time to learn. Lack of knowledge. Or too busy to sit down and plan, or too busy to take the time out to look at their business metrics. When what the real problem is a lack of focus. Being busy is not a badge of honor. What it's really saying is that you are not in control of your business. And if you are, in air quotes, too busy to lead and manage your business, then you've got a leadership problem, not a customer problem. And so I said there were 3 reasons that people run out of money: knowledge, focus, and support. So if you are turning to a public Facebook group of people who haven't been where you want to go, then you're just procrastinating. If you are asking your sister or your mum or your partner or your friend for advice that they're not qualified to give, then you are just going to end up more overwhelmed and more confused. Getting support from the right people for where you're at in business and in life right now and where you want to go is key. So when people say that their biggest obstacle to scaling their business is a lack of money or a lack of time or a lack of customers, as you can see, I quite often just go, those are just the symptoms. Let's diagnose the problem. Now, this episode is not called Sal Goes on a Rant about why businesses close. It is 3 ways that you can get more customers that people don't use very often. So I'm not saying that there is never a time to place a focus on acquisition. No. You always have to be filling your customer funnel. What I'm trying to say is that you need to be able to know what truly is an obstacle versus a symptom. All right. So now that I've hit that home, if you need more customers, then you've got to do something about it. Let's look at 3 creative ways. In fact, I think they're the most 3 underused ways for you to get more customers. And what I like about these ways is quite simply, your competition probably aren't using them. So this is a great way for you to cut through the noise. Now, I know that you can use social media, you can use ads, you can use influencers, you can use collaborations, all those kinds of things. What we're trying to work on today is the stuff not many people are using. So if you want to add them into your customer funnel, you know that you got a chance of actually converting those customers. All right, my first one is LinkedIn. Now, when I owned a store, one of the stores I had was on the fringe of the central business district. Now, it wasn't quite in the city, it's just outside of the city. But it never occurred to me that corporate gifts were a seriously viable option. Where our other store wasn't in a corporate area, so no one really ever called up for a corporate hamper. When I was a few years in business, I opened that store and I had a kind of fledgling speaking career. I was doing workshops for local councils and for other government organisations. Look, I like to talk, right? So it seemed like a no-brainer to be posting what I was doing on LinkedIn. I had no strategy. And let's be honest, there was no consistency. It was just me talking about the workshops that I was doing, maybe talking about our suppliers and our products and our ethos. So you can imagine my surprise one day when the team from that store called me, super excited, to say that they had just gotten a corporate gift hamper request for $500. It was for a manager that was going on maternity leave. $500. Now, for us, that was the biggest hamper we had ever sold. The team actually weren't quite sure to put it in it, so they were calling me to A, celebrate, and also B, to get some guidance on what they should put in this basket. And when I asked them how the company found out about us, my team were smart enough, because they use our customer tracker, to ask that question. And the answer was LinkedIn. Someone in that company had seen one of my posts at the right time and voila, $500 order, baby. Now, even today, I can't say that I have a specific LinkedIn strategy. I do post specifically. I quite often game up my posts when I'm about to do an event or speak somewhere. Generally, I just post stuff about the podcast, but I still do get speaking gigs from it. However, it always surprises me that nearly every retailer that we work with isn't on LinkedIn, let alone leveraging LinkedIn. Now, one of our retailers, Shelley, in the 5X framework, has a business that does these really cool ceramic painting and art classes. And in the past, they've been booked by corporates to host these sessions as Christmas parties. And when you think about it, it is a great way for a team to bond. These parties bring in thousands of dollars. And where do you think the admin person who's in charge of booking those parties kind of hangs out? Oh yeah, there is a pretty good chance that that person is scrolling through LinkedIn. So if there is any chance that your customer is a professional, or let's just say they work for a living, then there's a good chance that they scroll through LinkedIn. And considering it's probably the most overlooked social media platform for retail and e-commerce, your chance to cut through that noise is seriously high. All right, my next favorite thing to do that no one else is really doing is to leverage your suppliers. Yep, go and ask your supplier to collaborate with you. Now, a lot of retail and e-commerce businesses focus on paying influencers. You know that influencers can get your brand out there. But I'll be honest, I have seen a lot of paid influencer projects go south very, very fast. You spend a lot of money, you give a lot of product, and you get not a lot back in return. Not all of them, I know, but I've seen it happen more often than not. So why don't we skip the influencers and go straight to the source? Now, most retail and e-commerce stores, if they're posting about a specific product, will just tag the brand and hope for a repost. But what if you actually got yourself together and created a proper promotion? Oh yeah, if you are in any of my programs, side note, that has the ultimate promo run sheet, that thing is the bomb. That thing has made hundreds of thousands of dollars. And if you're not using it, you are missing out. So if you have my ultimate promo run sheet, you will know that it steps out for weeks what you need to do to create a high converting campaign. So imagine if you stopped doing things ad hoc, stopped marketing last minute, and actually worked with your suppliers to create unique offers and drive customers to your store or your website. One of our superchargers has just done exactly this for Black Friday. They teamed up with their supplier to create a unique Black Friday offer that isn't discounting. Now, the great thing about this for the supplier is it sets themselves apart. It drives business to their brand. It gives them that brand awareness that they're looking for, creates great content for them, and they can use that for their social media and their newsletters. Heck, just making sure that you are listed as a stockist on the supplier page can drive free traffic to your store. And you would be surprised how many retailers don't even bother to check that they're listed on those pages. And there is no more a qualified buyer than someone who is sitting on a brand's website, right? Alrighty, so LinkedIn and collabing with your brands, with your suppliers. The next one that I've found is one of the best ways to bring in new customers, and that is to hold an event. Now, maybe it's a Meet the Maker type event, or a book signing, or maybe you might do a product launch, or even a community meetup, or a webinar or masterclass. There are so many events that you can hold. Anything that is related to something that your customers would love. Think about the types of events that are likely to draw in your perfect customer. Now, in my baby and kids stores, we used to host everything from weekly mothers group meetups to cooking demos for busy mums, and these always drew a crowd and they often sold out. We also used to hold these hands-on masterclasses, which we charged for. We used to sell reusable nappies. Before reusable nappies were a thing, we were kind of the OG. And so we used to do these classes on how to use reusable nappies. We used to charge $20 for them, and every Saturday morning they would be filled. We often had a wait list of people who wanted to join in. So now people are paying us to become customers. Freaking brilliant, right? Now, just because you might be a purely online store, it doesn't mean that you can't take advantage of events as well. You don't have to overcomplicate the process. Going live on Facebook or Instagram is a super low-tech, free way to get your store out there and to get you more customers. Because I don't have to tell you the benefits of streaming on social to be able to quickly build your customer audience. Now, they're my 3 ways: LinkedIn, events, and using your brands. But there are quick ways to bring in customers, and then there are cheap ways to bring in customers. I have just given you the cheap ways. But realistically, if acquiring customers is your main focus, you should be utilizing multiple channels to fill your customer funnel. And these examples that I've given you today, they're not rocket science, and you're not going to probably be flooded with customers. What these channels are going to do is diversify the places that people can find you. They say in today's world, it's something like 15 to 20 interactions before a customer moves to the next level of your customer funnel and hopefully actually buy something from you. So this also provides that repeated touch point where that potential customer may have come across your socials, but maybe they didn't follow you, or they headed over to a supplier website and they saw your brand name there And then your name pops up again when they see that a friend is attending one of your events. All those little touch points, even if they're just subconscious, move the chance that that person is going to become a customer exponentially. Now, I know that there are lots of free, in air quotes, ways to bring in customers, like collaborations and posting on social media, but those are kind of normal, like everybody is doing them. And they take time. In my experience, the main way to get customers quickly is to pay for them. So today's episode was to try and uncover some of the ways that your competition aren't using or maybe aren't leveraging them to the fullest so that you can cut through the noise and reach those potential customers. And while they might not bring you in, let's be honest, they're probably not going to bring you in a game-changing amount of customers, what they will do is diversify those channels and increase those touch points. And heck, we can all use more customers on autopilot, right? Now, I did mention in today's episode my ultimate promo run sheet. So in some of our programs, you will get that as a bonus. But if you would like to get your hands on it, you will be able to find it in my amazing Black Friday bundle. I'll show you how to create a crazy successful sales campaign in just a weekend. So it is not too late for you to get that Black Friday, Cyber Monday promo out there. If you would love to get your hands on it and a whole bunch of extra bonuses at a ridiculously low price, head over to selenaknight.com/BF. BF for Black Friday, BF for best friend. This will be your best friend for Black Friday. Alrighty, thank you so much for listening to today's episode. If you found it helpful, please, please, please share it with someone else that it can help, and head on over to selenaknight.com/BF if you want to get your hands on that Black Friday bundle before it's gone. Alrighty, I will see you on next week's episode. Bye. So that's a wrap. I'd love to hear what insight you've gotten from this episode and how you're going to put it into action. If you're a social kind of person, follow me at @TheSelenaKnight and make sure to leave a comment and let me know. And if this episode made you think a little bit differently, or gave you some inspiration, or perhaps gave you the kick that you needed to take action, then please take a couple of minutes to leave me a review on your platform of choice. Because the more reviews the show gets, the more independent retail and e-commerce stores just like yours that we can help to scale. And when that happens, it's a win for you, a win for your community, and a win for your customers. I'll see you on the next episode.